This is the Momentum Podcast.
On one of our recent member calls, two of our members shared just how much things have changed in their business since they've added some process, structure, and routine to create consistency. You know, as an advocate for entrepreneurs, I share that process will set you free. And entrepreneurs are the only people out there that I know that quit a 9 to 5 so that they can go work a 9 to 11. And I don't mean 9 to 11 in the morning, 7 days a week. And so many of us want this thing called freedom, but we haven't put in place the systems, the structure that is going to get us that freedom, that is going to get us the results we want, and probably most importantly, that is going to help us impact the market whose lives we want to change. Well, on one of our recent calls, Chris Kennedy and Gabe Arnold, two of our members that are incredible entrepreneurs, shared just how much things have changed for them after they added some process, structure, and routine and got some of that consistency. And rather than me tell you in another way, after 700 and something podcasts, how these things will change your life, I want you to hear directly from Gabe and Chris. I think you're going to find this incredibly relatable, inspirational, and you might even change some things after you listen.
I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future. And instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be.
Dude, I'll give you a win, and it comes along with gratitude. But we really started implementing the system January 1st, going along with your implementation plan. And it's been awesome, man. It's definitely, it's taken a load off my plate, or it's made things a lot easier. So it works.
Nice. Thank you for the confirmation. So give us an idea, Chris. So you started January 1, right? So you're about a little over a month into your first waterfall. And what's it done for you?
It's, okay. So what it's done for me is definitely there's been a bunch of stuff it's done, but I think the key things, number one, more clarity between our team, everyone knowing what everyone else is working on to a greater degree. And because a large part of our team is remote, that was definitely an issue we were having. And then the other thing is we started implementing like the leadership structure. So I've started really coaching some leaders on our team, and it's amazing the amount of freedom that has given me, because I've really been pretty disciplined about, okay, I'm going to do one-on-ones with the leaders each week, which is, it's time, right, to do that. But by doing that, I'm like, okay, I've got to coach these people how to solve the problems that I was solving before. So it's freeing. So it's been cool. Yeah. That means still work in progress, right? There's areas we can improve, and I'm still getting used to the meetings, and it does feel like kind of a lot of meetings still, but it's gotten rid of a lot of emergency type meetings that are unplanned and not great.
And the death of 1,000 paper cut meetings.
Right.
When they just pop up and it's like, got a minute. I remember before I had all of our systems in my 20s, I ran a team of about 55 people, and got a minute actually made my heart palpitate. Like when somebody would come and say, hey, do you have a second? I'd always be like, oh God, what is this going to be? And why am I doing it? And why is it right now? And I've got 8 things on my desk. So I want to ask a couple more questions just so everybody can hear it, because I think anybody who's fresh in the cadence, it's awesome perspective. Thanks for being here, everyone. It's awesome to see you. So you're about 6 weeks in. How has communication shifted between you and your team in those 6 weeks? Besides just having the meetings, what else have you noticed?
fewer random questions.
Yeah.
So now people, so I mean, it's a culmination of all of the different things being implemented, right? So we had that joke about the organization structure, how I put it out, like had everyone on the team like give their idea of what that was, and how we had 14 different versions of it, right? So we got really clear on that. That cleared up a whole bunch of stuff. So now people know, hey, if I've got a problem, I'm going to this person, not to Chris, right? So that was super helpful. Like I said, the one-on-one coaching has been like the one-on-ones, like taking the coaching. And I did read Radical Candor right after the summit last time, because so many people said that was a good read.
Yeah.
So that's been helpful in terms of how to do the coaching. Let's see. And then the OTAs. And yeah, I mean, we were pretty conservative with the number of projects we took on, because I heard a lot of feedback, like people kind of tend to jump in and do way too many. And we said, okay, let's do fewer rather than too many. And I'm feeling like we could do more, but it's been nice because it's created that momentum of we're actually getting things done. So kind of all of that is creating a lot less, it's a lot more clarity at the end of the day.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I think another thing, sorry, I'm doing all the talking here, but another thing, the rebranding that you did is also helpful, just communicating with the team. Because now it's, at the beginning, it's like, hey, what's the Sharfen program? Or like, what is it? Now it's like, no, we're implementing simple operations. It's more, it says what it is, kind of.
So awesome. Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to explain who I am.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Chris. So cool. I love hearing this. Gabe, why don't you jump in with a couple wins? I love to get like just the ball rolling on that. Let's hear it.
Yeah, thank you. So we're 10 months in right now. And I know I shared at the summit, like we have a ton of growth. We grew revenue 60% and profit 80+%, which that's great. And I super love the numbers. And that's obviously why I have a business. But equally, or probably even more importantly to me, in the last, this quarter, we put on the waterfall growing our leadership team. And so we took it from me, Danielle, and Christian, because we super pared it down when we joined Sharfen, because we had leaders who shouldn't have been there. And then we added, we added 6 more. We basically added like the department leaders to the leadership team. And since doing that, like operations have gotten even smoother, because we've been able to have a quick 15-minute huddle before the all team huddle. And it solves majority of problems. And so then when we move into the daily huddle, there's really not a lot of blockers. There's not a challenges. And then the other thing we did is after the daily huddle, we put in place the department huddles, even though there's only like, 4 to 8 people in each department, eight at the most. That's just been really powerful. And it took the team a minute to get used to like getting, starting the leadership team starts at like 8:50 in the morning. And then everybody's in huddles, leadership or all team huddle or department huddle until 10 a.m. But even though we've basically put, an hour plus on the clock in the morning, it seemed like a lot to everybody, but now everybody's really happy with it. And so by 10 o'clock in the morning, everybody's super clear on what they're doing. And I was talking to Danielle, my operator, today, and even last week on our one-on-one, and like everything's super smooth. We have no fires. Everything's like handled in real time, which is super cool. And then the other thing that I'll share too, that's been great, because last year was not great, because around this time last year, before we joined the program, we did annual reviews for all, 40, we had a couple more team members on, because there were some part-timers who did like 45 annual reviews, and it was hell. I hate it. And so we put in place the team member self-assessments, I want to say like August or September. And it was great because Danielle, my operator, was able to review those, put together a simple document, and make recommendations for raises and increases. And in like 20 minutes, we had it all handled of who was getting increases. And it was just such a simpler system to do the team member self-evaluation. Plus, I love reading those, because I don't read them all the time, but when I do sit down and read some of them, I have really great insight into what the team member's life is like, and what's going on. So it's overall, things have just gotten so much smoother and so much easier to run. And I only have 2 direct reports, which is phenomenal.
Life changing. Dude, that is so awesome, Gabe. So we've got some new members on this call. And whenever somebody hears something like my team's in huddles from 8:30 to 10, I think that's what you said. People like entrepreneurs kind of freak out. It's like, wait a second. And then instantly, here's what I know just from working with entrepreneurs for my whole career. They start doing math. It's like, wait, that's an hour and a half a day, 5 days a week. That means it's 7.5 hours a week. That means I'm paying this much money for those meetings. That means they could be doing this other stuff. How do you possibly do that? That's like a 20% of their time working with you in a week. So Gabe, what has putting those huddles in place done to productivity? Because that's what most people worry about is if I put too much meetings in place, we're going to lose productivity. What has it done for you?
Productivity has been way better. A year ago, I would say that probably 30 to 40% of our projects were not on schedule, and like significant delays of 2 weeks or more, which is significant to me. Now I think we have, 4 out of 100 projects that are not even off schedule, but have minor delays. So I can just I get a weekly project report from each project manager and from my lead project manager, and things are on schedule. The other thing that it's really done is we updated our org chart after the summit too, because it was kind of screwed up at some level, I think. So after the December summit, we updated the org chart, and in putting that in place and then having the leadership huddle and having a department huddle after our all team huddle, we've been able to now effectively funnel requests through the department leader. And so we're not overwhelming like individual team members. So we're actually being more productive and getting things done a lot faster. We also do momentum planning in our daily huddle, and the team, I thought they were going to hate it because it was a change and like sometimes just new process. The team, we have to sell it, but we put that in place. And then the self-assessments we got the next month, probably 80% of them said, I love that we do our momentum planning every day. And I think that's an equal driver to just having the cadence of having the touch points every day, is that we mandated that everybody, and nicely, but we mandated everybody do momentum planning. And so even though it feels like the mornings are pretty intense for me, like, cause I start at 8 and then I'm in touch points and meeting with my assistant and meeting with my operator, and like it's pretty stacked until 10, but in 2 hours, like I pretty much have the day knocked out, and then I can move on to, projects or stuff I want to do or things like that. So productivity has definitely gone up, and the data shows me that because we don't have anywhere near the amount of project delays that we did before. It's because questions get answered in real time, and there's a preset container to solve those problems. And so I probably get 3 chats a week, like, hey, can I update you on this? But I don't get those do you have a seconds anymore, because I know what you mean. Those just cannibalize your life.
Yeah, it's death of 1,000 paper cuts. It's like that. It's brutal.